Hi guys!
So a while
Someone
back,
commented on my video. I'm gonna put the name of the user on the screen, and she said that it would be interested if I did a video where I talked about books that triggered a positive response on me and my favorite books, sort of a Q&A about my favorite books and all that sort of book related stuff. And I thought that sounded really interesting, and I was really excited about doing it. Now that I actually got some time to do it, I'm actually doing it. So I've always been interested in books, like reading in general. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always enjoyed reading, but it was only when I read dun 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 Twilight that I really got into YA books. Like, I really got into reading all the time and always having a book on my bag, and I just fell absolutely in love with reading. And I know Twilight is a book that people either love it or people hate it, and lots of people criticize it. But here's the thing, and it's funny talking about this again because when I was in high school, as some of you guys know, I recently graduated, and I had this English teacher on the last couple of years of high school, and he always joked around and made fun that I liked Twilight, and he would always say that Twilight wasn't literature, and it would always really like make me mad. And one day I just got like really pissed off, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna prove to him how Twilight is literature, because it's not enough for someone to say, okay, Twilight is crap, Twilight is not literature, and for you to just say, no, you're wrong, Twilight is a good novel, Twilight is literature. You have to show actual evidence and to prove your point and to show why you believe in something. So that's what I did. I asked him if I could do this quick PowerPoint presentation in one of his classes. I just created this PowerPoint presentation showing a bunch of concrete evidence of how Twilight was literature. And I got statements from professors in Oxford that had read Twilight, consider literature, and actual universities that started offering vampire literature courses, all because of Twilight. And I also made reference to Moby Dick and a bunch of other things. And afterwards, he was quiet. I feel that this book is so revolutionary, just like Harry Potter. Even though I don't like Harry Potter, I read the first book and it really didn't appeal to me. I feel that Twilight and Harry Potter are book series that are completely revolutionary to teenagers nowadays, because it got a generation of teenagers that didn't read to start reading again, and I think that's so fabulous and so great. And I just think it's a great book series, and if you haven't read it, do it. You have to look beyond the obvious, because it's so much about looking beyond the words and the deeper meaning in the whole story, and that's what made me fall in love with this book. The books are 100 times better than the movies, even though I love Robert Pattinson. The books are 100 times better, so don't get the idea of how you feel about Twilight by the movie, or any idea of how you feel about a book by if you watch the movie, because trust me, they're not the same most of the times, like 99.9% of the time. And my copy is totally destroyed. I've lent this book for a bunch of friends, and I also, for my school, we had to write this, I forgot how many words, it was like 4,000 word paper on whichever topic we wanted that was related to one of the subjects we were studying. So I did mine in English, and I did a paper comparing Twilight and Romeo and Juliet and the topic of forbidden love. And that was such a delightful paper to write. And I just really, really like this book. And not just like, oh, Edward, Robert Pattinson, oh, Edward and Bella. It's something more to it. Since I talked about Romeo and Juliet, one of my all-time favorite writers, along with Stephanie Meyer, which I absolutely love, but this one is not contemporary, is Shakespeare, and I'll show you guys in a bit the other books. And I just love Shakespeare's plays, sonnets. I think his writing is so beautiful and so inspiring and so powerful. I love it. And my favorite is Romeo and Juliet, and my copy is full of post-its because, like I said before, I did a piece of paper about it, so I have a bunch of notes and things on still. But it's just so beautiful, and this story is inspired so many other authors to write other books. This love story is just classical and beautiful. Shakespeare's tragedies, I think, they're so insightful, and they really stick on you and make you think. And another one of my favorite plays by Shakespeare is Macbeth. If you haven't read it, you should. Unlike Romeo and Juliet, in Macbeth, love isn't really the focus of this play. It's more about rise to power, and you get a bunch of other themes. And it's interesting how, even though Shakespeare wrote so long ago, the things he wrote about and the major themes on his plays are present nowadays, and I find that very, very amusing. And I have here a book. It's called Shakespeare Stories by Leon Garfield, and I think it was on 8th grade. My school, they had this thing that at the end of each year, each subject would award a student that performed the best and the teacher thought that deserved recognition, that worked really hard. And in 8th grade, I actually won the award for English. And my teacher back then, she knew how much I loved Shakespeare, because it was, I think, on 8th grade that I really fell in love with Shakespeare. Like, I just read a bunch of his plays. I would sit with her at lunch and talk about Shakespeare, and for the prize, she gave me this book, and I thought it was so thoughtful of her, and it's actually a really good book. It's a summary of some of Shakespeare's plays, and if you don't feel like reading the whole play, you can read it in this book, and it actually uses colloquial language, not the sophisticated language used by Shakespeare. And I think it's a great book, especially for younger people. Now for more recent favorites, and a book that triggered a really positive response on me, and I actually did a review on this book a while back, is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel Kahn and David Levithan. And I really, really adore this book. As you guys probably know by now, if this is not the first video you're watching from me, I'm a sucker for romance and love stories. But I'm really picky about my love stories and romance because I like it to be too cliched. I like originality, and I just like to be unique. It's a really original love story. The writing style is amazing. It has a lovely sarcastic tone that made this reading so enjoyable, and it's just such a great read. And these authors, Rachel Kahn and David Levithan, they are so fabulous. I really, really like them. So, and I feel that I couldn't do this video and not mention a Brazilian book, even though most of you guys haven't read any Brazilian books. And I don't know if you guys are aware of any Brazilian authors. I had to mention this book, and it's Capitães da Areia by Jorge Amado. You're probably like, what? But Jorge Amado, he's a really famous Brazilian author, and his books are so amazing. They really talk about, and especially this one, it really portrays the reality in the northeast of Brazil. And there's love, there's violence, it's realistic, and all his books, they're so insightful. They are really captivating, and he's just brilliant. I'll put somewhere on the screen if there is the translated version of this book, because if there is, you guys should read it because it's so amazing. And if you guys ever come across a translated book in your language by Jorge Amado, that's his name, I really suggest you guys to pick it up because he is really amazing. He is probably my favorite Brazilian author. And so this was my video. I really enjoyed doing. Hopefully it helped you guys in some ways. Maybe you guys will pick up one of these books. Feel free to do a video response, especially WeReadBooks members. I tag you all to do this video because not only it's fun, but I think it's interesting to see what are people's favorite books and what books got them into reading, their favorite authors, and all that. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I'm reading a lot lately, so expect a bunch of reviews from me. I'm going to be putting all my links to Goodreads, Tumblr, my other YouTube channels, Twitter, all that jazz down here. And yeah, I think this is it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye!